Hello everyone, today is another lovely day outside and it's time to return to repair work. It's time to remove intake and exhaust valves and try to make airflow just a little bit better. As you can see, intake manifold doesn't match perfectly to engine heads, therefore I'll try to gasket match it a little bit better to make airflow just a bit smoother. I don't know how it will end, but let's give it a try. Maybe it will increase 1 or 2 horsepower. Heads are out and we will need to grind this part. I guess I'll take it to the machine shop and also to put valves inside to seal better. And also while I'm doing it, I'm thinking to port just a little bit to match seals and maybe polish a little bit, and that's it. Maybe this will let engine run a little bit better. Okay, and to port we will need to remove valves, and to remove valves I made this tool. Just drill the hole into this, and now we'll just need to screw this bolt, and spring should compress and valves holder should release. We'll see how it will succeed. And that's it. Valve is out. Engine heads has been disassembled. Exhaust and intake valves are removed, and now we can try to make airflow just a little bit better. We don't have a lot of room because everything is here tiny and the walls are so little that if you port just a bit too much you will end up in coolant chamber, which is real bad. Intake chamber has this little bump which is made for nuts which holds valves. Exhaust chambers has huge bump for valve cover bolts, which are really inconvenient. Maybe I'll try to remove them by just completely grinding it out and installing nut which will be covered in Loctite and left in this engine head. Old original intake manifold gasket fits like a glove, and you can see that we don't even need to port match anything. All was done by all those years while car was running. Just when this clean line ends and starts this black part, well, this one we don't need. We can port this out. It's not much, but it should help to reach air into cylinders even just a little bit better, and that's what we are aiming for, just little bit better performance. Let's try to do it. Okay, intake ports are more or less ported, at least gasket matched. I removed all the excessive metal so that gasket would fit perfectly and air could flow just a little bit more free. Inside doesn't look that nice, but I think that I'm going to grind it a little bit more and make it a little bit smoother. Okay, and considering this intake valve, I tried to stay safe and remove as little as possible because I don't know what I'm doing. As I read, the most important thing to do was to leave this place where valve sits intact, and here was just a little bit edge like this, and I'm smoothed it a bit so that air could reach cylinder just a little bit better. I don't know how much it will change engine's performance, but we'll see. Exhaust valves looks hideous because they have these two bumps that stops exhaust gases going outside, so these need to go out. But when I'm grinding and porting these out, I'll make myself a problem, a little hole, because these bumps are made for these bolts. These bolts will hold valve cover. So when I make this hole, I'm gonna use these screws. I'm gonna try to use Loctite for it so it would hold and do not let gas to go outside, and then just bolt it with this little nut. Okay, we'll see how it will work in real life. First step of porting is completed. All that I could reach, it was grinded out. I was careful around these throats not to break something, and now these heads need some polishing inside and in these chambers, and I guess that would be it. I'm not experienced porter nor engine repairer, so I think that's enough. I need to stop while I'm ahead. Time for valves. You might think what could be wrong with them, but this carbon that is accumulated in 30 years slows down airflow to cylinder, and in that way engine is working a little bit worse than it could because it is lacking air. So what I need to do is to take out all valves and clean them just like this one, and clean them carefully not to damage main parts. This line is the most important. It needs to be intact, and this place could be cleaned with anything. Okay, let's clean the last one. Finally, I can say that engine head porting is finished. I did best job I could do. Main things that was changed. Here in exhaust port there was two big bumps which was designed for these bolts. These bolts are for engine valve covers. Okay, so instead of nuts I installed screws. And these holes that I made by porting are now covered. Okay, this chamber, I just polished it and cleaned all the carbon that was in it. So maybe it will help with fuel ignition. Okay, so and now the intake port. I didn't do lots of changes, just cleaned the stuck carbon. I tried not to touch throat and just a little bit grinded it and made just a little bit bigger. Main goal was to not make worse this engine head. Okay, also I made little changes in this intake chambers. A gasket matched them all, and now I'm hoping that the engine will run a little bit smoother, and maybe 1 or 2 horsepower will be increased. Okay. Next step is to send these engine heads to engine head mechanics and to clean this surface so that gasket would cover them smoothly and there would be no issues when I'm going to assemble the engine. Okay, for now that's enough. Bye.